Your brain, sometimes your brain is your biggest enemy. Sometimes your brain is what's getting in your way. Constantly overthinking, constantly calculating, trying to always do things perfectly. Telling yourself and thinking to yourself, what I said, did I say it right? Or should I have said it a different way? We are constantly overthinking. I am constantly overthinking. This is why I'm making this video. If you have ever found yourself replaying a conversation in your head, if you have ever found yourself, if you see, I'm doing it right now. This is me overthinking. I know what it is that I want to say, but instead of saying it, I keep filtering myself in my head, in my mind. And so what this leads to you, and I'm not going to cut this off. I'm not going to edit this, so you will see what it looks like in real time. I knew what I was about to say, but I keep filtering my words in my own head. And this is something I've learned about myself in the course of me making these videos. And when you're somebody who is constantly overthinking what they say, you're always in your head. See, this hurts your communication. This hurts the way that you communicate, because this sometimes can also make you sound less authentic. Because then it sounds like you're making it perfect, or you're writing a script or reading from a script. And not saying you can't read from a script if it comes from your mind, right? Because scripts sometimes, these are your thoughts that you put. But when you constantly filter your words, when you constantly overthink what it is that you're going to say, the less natural you speak. You start filtering every word that you say instead of just expressing what you really mean. Now, back to what I was originally going to say. You know those times that you found yourself replaying conversations in your head 100 times over and over again, thinking about what you should have said? You see, I can say that because I know everybody has done it. Everybody has been there. But if you have never found yourself replaying conversation in your head, leave me a comment. I want to see this anomaly of a person, this conundrum of a person. See, or if you find yourself thinking, oh, maybe I should have said that differently, that is due to you overthinking. You see why I'm pausing? I'm pausing because I was filtering words in my head. I was filtering words in my mind. I was filtering, oh, what do I say now? And so I'm just going to drop this here. And I think that's why it's very important for you, even when you're having conversation. You have to know when to pause. Because I know I'm somebody who naturally, I speak faster, and I'm aware of this. And sometimes when I speak faster, that's where I find myself saying, oh, I shouldn't have said that way. So it's important sometimes to slow down. When you find yourself overthinking, slow down. Because sometimes we rush ourselves. I don't know why I am inclined to speak fast. I am aware of this thanks to me making these videos. Because the more I make these videos, you see, this is how I started seeing certain areas, certain weaknesses that I have. And I think it's very important the way that we communicate. Because it doesn't matter how good you look. It really does not matter how beautiful you look, you work on your body, or whatever it is that you work on yourself. And that's good. Keep working on yourself. You should work on yourself. It does not matter the things that you might have going on for yourself if you lack the ability to communicate. If you do not know how to sit down and have meaningful conversation, this is what helps you to build community. This is what allows you to connect, or to be able to connect with people on a different level, on a deeper level. There is a quote by Fyodor, and I put it up here, so I will read it. It says, "Much unhappiness has come into the world because of bewilderment and things left unsaid." Why do we leave things sometimes unsaid? And that's what happens when you're somebody who overthink. When you're somebody who feel like you cannot communicate something properly the way that you think it should be communicated. So most times you find yourself leaving things unsaid because of your inability to communicate what it is that you're trying to communicate. And yes, we can come up with various reasons as to why we don't want to communicate this. Oh, because perhaps that person would not listen. But I'm talking about the very foundation and principle of communicating for the sake of being able to communicate. I'm talking about not letting yourself be in a place where you overthink. No. So when I find myself overthinking, when I am making this video and I'm speaking to somebody and I take a pause, let's say I'm in a thought of saying something, And as I was saying it, I keep filtering that word in my head. And instead of me just expressing myself and expressing what I mean, I stop. Because to me, it doesn't sound right. It's not coming out right. So that's why I stop. When we constantly replay conversation in our head and think to ourselves what we should have said or how we should have said it, that is overthinking. And what this stuff does is this affects our ability to clearly communicate. I'm aware I'm going too fast, so I have to slow down. Speech is a mirror of the soul. So as a man speaks, so he is. Meaning that our speech is a reflection of what is going on internally. So what could possibly be going on inside of our mind? What could possibly be going on within when we overthink? And so I'm going to try to put in words what I believe is happening. See, when I'm overthinking, I think when most of us overthink, it's a sign of us having fear-based communication. There is a fear that we have of being misunderstood, a fear that we have of being rejected or being judged. And this fear-driven mindset, your fear-driven mindset leads you to inconsistency and confusion. And sometimes when you look deeper, you begin to realize that the fear-based communication some of us have and some of us deal with is because of how we were raised. You see, for me personally, I was raised in my father was a disciplinarian. That man didn't even know the Bible, but his favorite verse is, spare the rod and spoil the child. He believes in discipline, every shape, way, and form. He embraced it. And being raised in that kind of household, especially in the presence of my father, you are supposed to be respectful. And that goes from the way that you speak and what you say and when you say it and how you say it. So you're always constantly, or at least I was constantly, thinking about what I say and how I should say it. So sometimes our communication is based on fear because of our fear of being rejected, of being misunderstood, or being judged. And what this can do to us is you find yourself second-guessing yourself. And when we second-guess ourselves, see, when you second-guess yourself, this is where you find yourself backtracking. You find yourself changing your message mid-sentence. This will make you feel unsure. This will make you look like you're unsure. It will make you look like you're not confident. And even when your idea is good, you lose something valuable in the mix of your overthinking. And I think sometimes we're so much in our head, but this is one thing that I've realized. Sometimes you just have to have the audacity. You just have to push through. Because our brain, like I said earlier, sometimes can be our worst enemy, can be the up. With overthinking everything, calculating everything, trying to make everything perfect when we know that there is no such thing as perfection. And this is why you have to let go of this. So when you have a conversation, just have the conversation. And this is what I've been working on. Sometimes you just have to power through. It's okay. Do it badly, my friend. Do it badly. Just have the audacity to say what it is that you want to say and move and let the stuff fall. Let things fall as they may. You see, I'm not editing this one out. Do not allow yourself to come to a place where you stop and you start overthinking what your next sentence is going to be. And you start editing, filtering, and stringing on words. What should I say? You get stuck in your mind, and it shows. So when you want to have a conversation, because I am learning this as well, and with every single video that I make, the goal is to become a better communicator. And I know I'm kind of more focusing on overthinking. And I know I'm talking about overthinking and giving a different perspective of how that aspect might be affecting our ability to communicate clearly. There are so many different things that affect our ability to communicate. But I think that is a very important aspect. And if you're somebody who constantly second-guess themselves, you will find yourself excessively monitoring yourself. And so instead of you responding in real time, because you're overthinking, you will find yourself focusing inwardly, analyzing everything, analyzing tone, analyzing body language. And what this does is disrupts the natural flow of a conversation. And while I was reading, I came across this word. It says paralysis by analysis. And what paralysis by analysis might look like in the context of what we are speaking about today, right? Overthinking. Paralysis by analysis You see, that's where you get to a place where you analyze something so much that you get paralyzed. When you overthink, your mind runs through every possible way something could be said or interpreted. And so instead of just speaking freely, you freeze. You're stuck in your own mind. And the more you analyze, the more you are paralyzed. The more you analyze, the more you are paralyzed. And this is because you're worried about saying the wrong thing. And so you hesitate. And what that hesitation does is, you see, that hesitation makes your conversation awkward. But the more that I realize that I have to better myself, the more that I read. Because I realize the importance of reading. I always say that I learn more when I watch a video. And that might be true. They say a picture can speak 1,000 words and a video 10,000 words. Or if a picture can say 1,000 words, then a video can say 10,000 words. But I think it's very important that you read, especially if you want to improve the way that you communicate. And when you read out loud. Don't read in your mind. Read so you can hear yourself read. You will come to realize that even when you're reading, you know how to read, you know those words, but sometimes you find yourself having breaks. You say, but this is you restructuring your mind, restructuring your brain. So it's important that you read if you are to build your ability to communicate. It's important that you're able to dive into the thoughts of other people. When you're having a conversation and you find yourself overthinking, and let's say I'm saying something to you and I'm having that conversation, and instead of me just saying what it is that I mean, instead of me expressing what I mean, I find myself filtering my words. You see, this is now what I'm doing is performing. I allow overthinking to shift my focus from connecting to performing. And this is not the way to communicate. Your communication begins to have holes when you're performing instead of being in the present. People can feel when you're not fully present, when you're filtering yourself instead of just expressing yourself. Saying what you mean. Say it. Say it. Get out of your own head. Get out of your own mind. Do not overthink it. And this is what I do. Sometimes I tell myself a story to practice the way that I speak. And sometimes I would just run through my activity for the day. And this is what it might look like. So this morning I woke up. I said a quick prayer. And I walked out there to check on my dog. And when my dog saw me, my dog was very excited. Well, I know this because he was wagging his tail. And I looked at the boy, I said, "Oh, how you doing, Mr. O?" Then I took him outside. And I let him pee and do his own thing. And then I brought him up. And when I was coming up, I noticed he kept stopping and looking back at me. And so I looked at him and I said, "Are you okay?" But he wouldn't move. So I took a step, but he stopped. And I looked at him, I said, "Come on, man." And he looked behind, almost as if to tell me, I think I left something. And I looked at the boy. I turned back again, heading to the door. But he still wouldn't come. And so I said, "Oliver, come here." And he came. And I know what you might be thinking. Well, maybe he left something out there. But you see, this is how I have communication. Or this is how I practice on my communication skill. And there are times that I do this, and you see, I don't make any mistakes. And I think one of the reasons I didn't have mistakes or try to filter out words in that narration was because I took my time. And also because I am way conscious of the fact I choose not to filter my thoughts. I choose not to filter my words. I just stay in the presence and just say it because I am not afraid. I let go of the fear of being judged. I let go of the fear of being rejected. You see, so many of us have traumas, and I don't think most of us even know what the extent of different aspects in our lives where our traumas show themselves. What is trauma? Trauma is not what happened to you. Trauma is what happened inside of you because of what happened to you. So because there was a time, maybe when you were younger, or a moment in your life when you had something to say, and you said that and you communicated your thoughts and you were laughed at. You were rejected. And so to you, you were judged. You see, that happened to you. And then inside of you, a trauma was born because of what happened to you. And now, it's not just the act that they laughed. It's not just the act that they commented negatively or responded negatively to your conversation, to what you had to say. It's not just that. You see, now you internalize it. Now you feel rejected. Now you feel judged. Now you feel misunderstood. And now you perceive yourself as someone who is unworthy. And so you treat yourself accordingly. But you see, these things happen to us, most of us, at a very early age. And even some of us while we are grown. But because of our lack of self-awareness, because of our inability to reflect, you see, we cannot really deal with what the issue truly is. It doesn't matter about the people. And yes, sometimes I know, sometimes some people are just jerky like that. You know, sometimes you will still communicate and people will laugh. You can't control that. But what I'm talking about is being able to reflect, being able to know yourself and take certain cues, certain reactions you get from people, take them as feedback. This is where you're allowed to filter it. Filter it, take the ones that are constructive and let the rest go. And take that, implement it, and work on yourself. You see, this is how life goes. You see, like, I'm aware of certain areas that I have to work on, especially when it comes to communicating. Like I said earlier, I speak too fast sometimes. And so what do? I understand and I know that what I have to do is to stop, take a deep breath, and continue. Take my time and continue, especially knowing that English is not my first language. So I also have to give myself grace in that. But I know that I am seeing growth. This video has humbled me. I know that. But it's a good thing. Because sometimes I think to myself, what if I never started making these videos? I didn't know how bad of a communicator I was before I started making these videos. But I realized that even failure is a skill. And you have to allow yourself to fail. Because every single time that you fail, you see, most people do not know how to fail. But you cannot grow without failure. And this does not mean that you seek out failure. But what I'm saying is, do not be afraid of failing so much that it actually stops you from trying something new, from working on yourself. That it actually stops you from taking a step and seeing what is possible, what you can do for yourself. Work on yourself, work on your skill, work on your ability to communicate, and you will see how far and how much things will change for you. I'm not the best communicator, I know this. But I know that sometimes I have so much in my mind. And when I try to communicate these things, my overthinking causes my mind to be cluttered with noise and distractions. And when you overthink and you end up not saying anything, true. Fail gracefully, fail badly, do it. Because the thing with failure is that, see, every time that you fail, the next time you fail a little bit better. You fail better. You fail better. It's okay. No, work on yourself. So like I said, next time you find yourself overthinking, take your time. Take a deep breath. Okay, relax. Relax, slow down. And say what you truly mean, not what you think other people want to hear. Because real conversation, real communication does not come from the mind. No, it does not come from the mind. It comes from you being in the presence, you being there and being real and responding in real time, connecting in real time, not thinking about how it should be said. No, not what you think you have to say in order for you not to be misunderstood or for you not to be rejected. Being able to communicate is not you being perfect in your words. It's you being real. I really hope you find this video helpful. And I hope you guys keep doing the best with what you have and keep working on becoming who you were born to be. Thank you.